first, the drone bomber-in-chief, Obama himself, he received a Nobel Peace Prize, and now a literal mob could be as well. Should they start rebranding this to the Nobel Violence Prize? Because President Trump was also nominated for this prize last year after being the first U.S. president in 40 years to not start any new wars or conflicts. But I highly doubt that he's getting it at this point.
I agree with you. The scary thing is this. What's really scary is that international organizations have band together to recognize a group, to recognize a domestic terrorist organization group that wishes to head on and be the catalyst for the downfall of America. That's what should be the real scary thing. Not that it's Stacey Abrams, not that it's BLM, but that an outside international organization wants to recognize, applaud, and give grandiose court to a group of individuals whose ultimate goal is the destruction of this country.
You're exactly right, because we have socialists in Sweden trying to give props and give credence and these prizes to Marxists here in the U.S. And I'm thinking, I'm sorry that Marxists in Europe ruined your continent, but don't bring that here to the U.S.
Exactly. Keep your garbage over there. It's the same we used to say when I lived in Texas and Californians were coming to Texas. We're like, don't bring that stuff here. If we're scared about a prize, imagine the money in the background. Because remember, BLM technically is not a political organization, right? They are a nonprofit organization. This should show you they're receiving hundreds of millions, if not billions, not only internally from like NFL, Apple, Netflix, etc., but they're receiving money from around the world, from communist organizations internationally to foster up domestic terrorism here in the States. That should be our number one concern. And if we had someone in the White House who was concerned about it, I would say the Defense Department and intelligence agencies should even be on alert.
That's a good point, because last year when the riots were really starting to break out, and we were seeing them pop up in city after city, night after night, there were reports that perhaps that there was foreign money being pumped into a lot of these riots. And of course, there were calls for the FBI to investigate and other such spy agencies. And of course, they declined to do so, and wonder why. Perhaps they didn't like where that money would go back to. But of course, we have these Norwegian socialists telling us that the Black Lives Matter movement, that they're the strongest force against racial injustice. Do you agree with that characterization?
Obviously, they're not the strongest force against racial injustice. They're actually the strongest force for racial injustice, for discrimination, for prejudice, for bigotry. A group that basically outlines critical race theory, that basically says if you're white and male, you suck. If you're white and female, you suck. If you're anything but somebody from black or brown origin, you suck. But wait for it. The coup d'etat is this. This is the coup d'etat. Even if you're black like me and you don't happen to think like them, then I also am a part of multicultural whiteness. This is the craziness that has gone. It has perpetrated throughout Europe, and they're trying to turn America the same way. We've got to be on alert. We've got to put a stop to it. But it's not going to happen, because all of academia, all of Hollywood are now going to be, yay, more black people got awards from international people who, by the way, if you tried as a black person to go to their house, they would slam the door in your face unless you were there to clean their toilets.
And of course, we see with the Stacey Abrams nomination, they wanted it to coincide with today, with the start of Black History Month. And it's interesting to me that we see these Marxist groups, these far-left Democrats, that they are trying to claim to be the intellectual heirs, such as intellectual giants in our American history, such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Frederick Douglass. But these men, especially Martin Luther King Jr., very godly men who love this country and love the founding of this nation and wanted our nation to live up to its founding ideals. And yet you have BLM and Stacey Abrams and Democrats more broadly of today who say our founding was horrible and they want to move us away from the founding. And it's strange to me that they try and claim to be those American greats, the intellectual heirs.
It's absolutely strange. That's the beauty of it. You're absolutely right. People like Frederick Douglass, MLK, etc., what they wanted to do was they wanted to make America the place for everybody because they recognized that the greatest beacon of hope, like Ronald Reagan said, that shining city on a hill was the United States of America. That you could do here what you couldn't do anywhere else. That you could be something here that you can't be in any other country on the planet. And that's whatever you dreamed and worked to be. And now Stacey, well, I guess it's still even now true because you're getting people like Stacey Abrams who don't deserve any peace prizes. Now she's going to be a Nobel laureate. So guess what? You can be anything in America. We're still proving it.